Tyron Woodley is going to be the first currently active fighter Jake Paul has ever stepped in the ring with, and the pressure is on. Tyron Woodley has 21 wins under his belt in his professional MMA career, with only 7 losses and 1 draw. He was at one point the UFC welterweight champion, retaining that title 4 different times over the course of 3 years before it was finally stripped of him. Despite this incredible MMA track record, things haven't exactly been going so great for Woodley as of late. In fact, he's lost the last 4 fights he's participated in, and is clearly looking for a fresh start because of it. He said that he's going to view this fight with Jake Paul as a way to change career paths and focus entirely on boxing. Focusing entirely on boxing is something he definitely seems to be serious about as well, going to the best of the best to train him for this upcoming fight, Floyd Mayweather Jr.
I don't mind it. Tyron and I are both walking around at 200 right now, 200 pounds. So we're both around that same size. But look, I want to fight the bigger guys. I want to fight Kamaru Usman. I want to fight Nate Diaz. There's multiple people on the hit list. I want to fight Tommy Fury. I want to get into these scraps. I'm just doing the fights as quick as we can make them happen.
Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley will be stepping in the ring at the end of this month, on August 29th to be exact, at the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in Jake's hometown of Cleveland, Ohio. The upcoming fight is the talk of the boxing blogosphere as of late, mostly thanks to the weight Jake Paul's name carries in the internet as a whole. With just 3 professional fights under his belt, all of which he won by either knockout or technical knockout, Jake's early career is looking good. His choice of opponents is questionable, however, with most of the people he scored those knockouts on not even being boxers in the first place. Jake first fought fellow YouTuber Deji in an amateur match, which he also won, before fighting yet another YouTuber, Anenson Gibb, for his first professional match. He then went on to fight retired NBA player Nate Robinson, and finally, retired MMA fighter Ben Askren.
But it doesn't necessarily mean that he wins, and I think Jake Paul can. If you look at that Nate Robinson fight, I know Nate Robinson didn't know what he was doing, but the way he landed those punches, he cracked him and knocked him out moving backwards. He can move backwards and then plant. So he doesn't have like big wind up movements. Like his brother has more wind up shots. His brother was throwing more windmill-y type arm punches. Jake throws things straight and hard. They're dangerous, much more dangerous.
He thinks Tyron is taking this Jake Paul fight for less than honorable reasons. I'm very, very worried that, he's getting a large amount for taking, a dive or something. Darren continues, I don't know how powerful Jake Paul is with his team. I don't know, mate. I just know that if Woodley wants to beat him, he can beat him. It's simple. I'm not throwing hate at Jake Paul. The guy looks like he can box, and looks like he's training hard. So, I don't know. One interesting thing to note is that Tyron Woodley has been saying on a few occasions that he doesn't think one fight with Jake Paul is enough, and predicts that they'll have one rematch at the very least. Meanwhile, Jake is talking about how he's going to finish Tyron so violently there won't even need to be a round 2. Maybe Tyron's pushing for there to be a second round as a facade to save face when he loses and people point fingers over these exact rumors. But we of course don't know that for sure. He could also want a second fight to get a big paycheck again. Who knows? Many people have been saying online that they feel if Jake's career will come to an abrupt halt if he loses, while Tyron's career will come to a halt if he loses. Both parties spend a good bit of time online interacting with each other in the community, and have probably seen these predictions. Despite this, Jake Paul confidently posted a list recently about who he'd like to fight after the Tyron Woodley fight.
Woodley doesn't look like, the Tyron Woodley of the past that was putting everybody to sleep. He hasn't won a fight in 3 years. He's going to be 40 years old, But I will give it to him. He's at least stepping in there with a guy who can punch.
What's interesting about this choice, outside of Mayweather being the legend that he is that Mayweather and Jake Paul have a bit of a beef themselves. At a press conference that took place after Floyd's fight with Jake's older brother, Logan Paul, Jake and Floyd found themselves in a screaming match that escalated rather quickly. Jake snatched Floyd's hat and tried to run away with it, but Floyd's entourage roughed him up before he could even take too many steps. Jake decided to poke fun at the situation, however, posting his new "Gotcha hat" tattoo on Instagram so soon after the altercation happened, he still had a black eye in the photos. So if Tyron Woodley is an MMA fighter only having to focus on boxing, while being trained by one of the most accurate boxers in recorded boxing history, and going up against an amateur like Jake Paul, why do some people still seem to think that Tyron's going to lose this upcoming fight?
The best thing for him was getting cut by the UFC because he's about to make his biggest payday ever to fight a YouTuber.
I've been hearing that forever. I've been hearing that. They're all full of. How much? What's he making? Exactly. If that's that much money and he's so proud of how much it is, how much is it? They're all. But that's how you hype up a fight too.
But Jake and Tyron both are talking up their future wallets quite a lot online. Of course, until some explicit numbers come up somewhere, we can't really know if this is Tyron's biggest payday ever, but considering Jake's internet stardom, we wouldn't be surprised if he could find a way to get his hands on a ridiculous amount of money. This is where Darren Till comes in, a former opponent of Tyron's. Till said in an interview that despite the fact that he thinks he's a better fighter than Tyron, and he knows for a fact that Tyron won fair and square when they fought,
he hasn't won a fight in 3 years. In something that he's actually supposed to be good at. Now he's going to go box. How do you sell that fight?
Well, it's definitely no secret that Tyron Woodley is getting paid more money for this one fight than UFC would ever have dared to pay him for one fight, or at least we think. Dana White has expressed his disbelief when it comes to the paycheck being put up for this fight, considering the lack of
Jake Paul's hit list. Gibb, done. Nate Robinson, done. Ben Askren, done. Tyron Woodley, August 29th. Canelo, scared. Nate or Nick Diaz, whichever one wants it. Kamaru, Disney Channel, Usman. Timmy Fury. Conor McGregor. KSI. Gervonta Davis, Floyd's son. And maybe Logan Paul. Question mark. I'll see y'all August 29th, because next up is Tyron Woodley.
If you want to see whether or not Tyron Woodley is going to walk away victorious, you can purchase tickets to the event at the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in Jake Paul's hometown of Cleveland, Ohio, starting at just $10. The event will also be streaming on Showtime pay-per-view, meaning you won't need a Showtime subscription, and can be a one-time fee to watch the fight. The price is yet to be disclosed, but most sources say it will be roughly $50.
I back up everything I've said so far in every single interview with every single fight. So I've sort of taken it down from 3 rounds to maximum 2.
Almost as if he knows he has this in the bag. No pun intended. Then again, this could be less of a conspiracy and more of Jake Paul being the typical arrogant character he is. There's no way to really know whether or not Tyron Woodley is being paid to take the fall, but at the very least, we'll be able to see if he falls at all. If he wins, these rumors may be put to rest, but if he loses, it will certainly leave the community